All right. Welcome in, my beautiful Lotus Lounge family members. Welcome to season 2, episode 13 of Uma's Lotus Lounge, streaming live on MeetMe and on YouTube. Guys, this week we have New Year's Eve, and it's not just another day on the calendar, it's a threshold. So I'm excited for us to start our week with positivity, positive vibes here in the Lotus Lounge. Welcome in. If you guys are now coming in, welcome. We're so happy to have you guys here. All right. So, I just got rid of my horoscopes. Whoopsie. This week, we are being faced with the idea that one chapter closes and another hasn't quite begun yet. So tonight, we're not rushing into resolutions or future planning. We're going to honor this crossing because that's what's happening this week. We're crossing from the old year into the new. We're crossing the space between who you've been and who you are becoming. This episode is about closing one chapter consciously so you don't carry unfinished energy into the next one. And we're going to begin by grounding ourselves right now. Okay? So, if you will, close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in with me. Exhale. Here is our affirmation for this week. I release the year with gratitude and step into the new chapter with clarity and trust. Let's repeat that again. I release the year with gratitude and step into the new chapter with clarity and trust. Breathe in and just let that affirmation settle. We're going to say it one more time. I release the year with gratitude and step into the new chapter with clarity and trust. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. If you are ready to cross this threshold with intention, type ready in the chat. All right, welcome in everyone. This is Uma's Lotus Lounge. I am so pleased to be here with you this last Monday of 2025. And my show today is about crossing that threshold, about leaving the old behind and moving into the new. So, as we journey here today, you can get a journal and a pen and write things down. You can record, or you could just simply listen and just let it embody your soul. All right? Because we are getting ready to enter into 2026 with peace, love, and light in our hearts. Okay. So, what I want to do, thank you. What I want to do is go over the astrology of this week. Now, I know some of you might not be into astrology as much as I am, but I will tell you this. It's very good, the astrology this week. And I will try to break it down into terms that you can understand. Okay. So, we all know that Wednesday is New Year's Eve. Anyone got plans? And the moon is going to be in lively Gemini. With the moon glowing in Gemini, New Year's Eve will be colorful. But no need to wait until Wednesday to get that fiesta in gear. The first cork could pop at any time. Okay? The Gemini moon brings a much needed dose of levity to the end of a challenging year, right? How many of us were challenged this year? This is a good time to reflect on 2025 and what it's brought you and how far it's come. Think about what were the greatest hits of the year? What would you like to leave in the rearview mirror? Since Gemini rules verbal communication, talking will be therapeutic. And as an added bonus, it could bring some comic relief to heavy situations. But don't forget to take a moment to focus on your individual aspirations, because after a year of illusions and confusion, we are all ready for a fresh and focused start as we count down to midnight and a year one in numerology. Because remember, 2026 not only starts a new year, it starts a new 9-year cycle. So, what do you need to know about this week? Well, after a meditative morning, Mercury moves into goal-getter Capricorn on New Year's Day. So January 1st, we have Mercury moving into Capricorn, which is huge because Mercury helps you to plan, strategize, and negotiate with a larger game in sight. This doesn't mean you should abandon your big 2026 visions. With clear-headed Capricorn's precision, you can set those dreams to a realistic timeline. If you have an impossible goal for the year, break it into phases with defined milestones. And then it will begin to feel totally feasible. You can also reach out to mentors this week and invest in expert training, all within the domain of Capricorn. I love that that's the energy this week because I am a spiritual mentor and I actually have my own spiritual development course starting Sunday, January 4th. So for those of you that are listening and ready to work with someone to invest in expert level training, let me know. Now on Friday, January 2nd, Chiron, the wounded healer, ends a 5-month retrograde. Speak up. Healing Chiron has been retrograde since July 30th, 2025. Now, on this Friday, it's going to move forward in Firebrand of Aries. Chiron helps you to identify your needs and advocate for them. There may have been a few messy attempts. Remember, what reads as assertive to one person could come off as aggressive to another. Starting today, seek healthy ways to access the conviction that lies underneath your anger and outrage. Is there a core value, a belief that you feel has been violated? Take the time to get in touch with it before you confront anyone. Best case scenario, you can have a productive conversation. Worst case scenario, you can have a fight with someone. Learn techniques like nonviolent communication or the 3-step imago dialogue. Do you guys know about that? The 3-step imago dialogue? Basically, it's mirror, validate, and empathize. This can transform a relationship that is veering into toxic waters. But that said, if you're dealing with someone who's a narcissist or an abusive dynamic, the best form of healing might come through rebuilding your own self-esteem outside of this particular relationship. In mythology, Chiron revived himself in order to heal others. What you learn could end up being a golden lesson that you share with others down the road. Now, on Saturday, January 3rd, we have the first full moon of the new year. And it's going to be in Cancer. Oh my gosh, could you imagine a full moon in Cancer on Saturday? What is that about? Feel those feelings. People are going to be super emotional. The year's first full moon arrives in Caring Cancer, spotlighting the holiday afterglow or aftermath. Cancer is the sign of home and family, and the festive season can stir up quite a lot around these topics. Eden says, I've scheduled my crying session. You are good. You are ahead of the game. Whether you're basking in nostalgia or stewing in resentment, the emotions roused by this lunar light will be anything but mild. With the moon opposing peacemaker Venus and combative Mars, both in Capricorn, your unprocessed feelings could manifest as an angry outburst, a torrent of tears, or even extreme fatigue. Since it's the weekend, sleep in if you can. Or do something self soothing and cathartic. Ask a nurturing friend or relative for advice, or pour some tea and fill up a few journal pages. Saturday, we're looking at self care because that full moon in Cancer is going to have everybody in their feelings, okay? All right. So, what is this so far? This week is going to be a trying week emotionally, mentally, with our relationships, everything. It's going to be a lot. And I feel like we need to be on top of our stuff, right? Instead of like lashing out on people, I feel like we need to take a moment, take a step back, and just, I'm taking a picture of that for myself, right? That Chiron, the wounded healer comment ending its 5-month retrograde speaks volumes to me. Hello, welcome in. We're just talking about the astrology this week. There's a lot going on, and it's going to be an emotional week for sure. All right. Are we ready to get into our weekly horoscopes? For those of you that are watching on MeetMe, you guys can get a personal message about your week if you spin a wheel or send a 1K gift. For those of you watching on YouTube, I'm so sorry. I am not monetized yet, but I am working on it. I see you, Carol. And yes, I am working on it, and soon I will be. And when I am, then you guys can participate too. Okay. But let's get into the horoscopes for each of the zodiac signs. All right, we're going to start with Capricorn. Capricorn, relationship growth can shake your emotional foundation. Are difficult memories from the past stirring up in the present? Be aware of your emotions. Aquarius, is your mindset blocking your growth? The Aries moon pokes holes in old insecurities about competence and productivity. Be aware of your thoughts. Yep, Goddess says big Aquarius energies. Pisces, or is that Pisces? I always get them mixed up. Pisces, your inner child may be cranky today. Are scarcity stories getting in the way of your joy and happiness? Aries, emotional triggers strike close to home. What early story about safety needs rewriting? Break the pattern under the Aries moon. Taurus, your subconscious may fire up hidden anguish that is ready for release. Grab a pencil and get your feelings onto paper. Gemini, comparing yourself to others can sting. The Aries moon reveals your buried insecurities. Will you let your self-worth be compromised? Cancer, wounds poked around success, tension between purpose and identity can bring up complex emotions and reopen old doubts. So you see how like there's a lot of, I'm Googling something real quick because there's a lot of emotional energy around right now. And that makes sense because we're getting ready to leave. We had a full moon on December 4th, right? So we're getting ready to leave that full moon energy and move into this new moon. So it's a lot of energy moving here. Leo, prepare for your fate to be tested, is a crisis of meaning pointing to a belief you're ready to outgrow. Virgo, a friend may offer wisdom that's a hard pill to swallow. Acknowledge what hits a nerve under today's Aries moon. Libra, frustrated by the growth of your professional trajectory, watch for making impulsive decisions that emotional triggers may drive. Scorpio, your daily work and health regimen may be under scrutiny. Do they support the broad horizons you're aiming to reach? Thank you, Queen. I appreciate that. I haven't seen that one yet. And I got you for a reading. Sagittarius, creative or romantic intensity touches on buried pain. Reframe this discomfort as medicine. What does it have to teach you? So those were the horoscopes for all 12 zodiac signs. But if you are now coming into my stream, no worries. I'm going to be doing tarot scopes at the end of my session to give each of the 12 zodiac signs a tarot message. And remember, if you send the 1K gift, you can get your own personal message this week. All right. Now, I want to dive into my main talk today. New Year's Eve as a sacred transition, because we have New Year's Eve coming up on Wednesday. But let's talk about what New Year's Eve truly represents. It isn't about the fireworks or the countdown or getting drunk, right? New Year's Eve is traditionally about integration. You can't move cleanly into a new chapter if you don't acknowledge the old one you're closing. How many of you have started to do a review? Have you started to review 2025? Have you started to journal about it? What you liked, what you didn't like, what works, what doesn't work. Every year leaves an energetic imprint. Thank you. This year shaped you through lessons, losses, growth, clarity, and awakening. If you don't consciously release it, pieces of it follow you forward. Thank you. So let me ask anybody who's brave enough to write in the comments chat. I know everybody's kind of shy. What do you remember the most about this year? Because whatever memory you choose, it's not good or bad. It doesn't matter. It will tell you what kind of year you had. So if you remember a great memory, my baby son graduated high school, went to college. I am now completely an empty nester, right? Or if you remember a terrible memory, I don't really have a terrible memory, so to say, about this year. It will tell you how 2025 has been. So what is the energetic imprint of 2025 for you? If you want to put it in the chat, I'm happy to read it out. Also, closure is an act of self respect. Closure isn't about others, it's about you deciding not to carry unfinished emotional weight. Thank you, Final. I got you for a reading. So, in what ways do you need to have closure around this year? Eden said, I'm not placing my trauma on the collective, allowing myself to not trauma dump. Spirit fingers, spirit taps for Eden, because that is so huge. I feel like sometimes people think I'm rude or disrespectful because if they start trauma dumping, I immediately get like, I gotta go. I can't be around here and I don't want to hear it, right? Unless you're paying me as your spiritual coach, your healer, to sit and listen to you and work through this, I don't want to hear it because I don't want to lower my vibration to get to that vibration that you're on, right? So, shout out to Eden for saying, I am learning to walk away and not trauma dump on people. It's not necessary. That's a great one, Eden. All right. This is a very, very important week because we have the New Year's Eve on Wednesday. So we're like on the threshold of crossing from one year to the next. It's like we're standing between timelines. Who you are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evening matters more than what you will be following that New Year's. So here's your homework. Before Wednesday, write down what you are releasing from this year. It could be a person, it could be a job, it could be a habit, it could be a thought pattern. Write it down. And when you write all the things down that you're releasing, thank them. Thank you for the lessons you've taught me. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for the growth I've experienced, right? And then write down what you're consciously choosing to carry forward. I'm consciously choosing to be more patient in 2026. I'm consciously choosing to spread love, not war, in 2026, right? When you do this exercise, it tells your nervous system and your soul that you are ready. You don't need to rush into the new year. You need to arrive completely present and ready for what the energy of the new year brings. All right. I hope you enjoyed my topic for today. I hope that it's given you some things to think about. And before we get into our horoscopes, where I pull a message for each of the 12 zodiac signs, and then also give my 1K gifters their personal message, let's move into the positive news segment. I like to include some positive news because I feel like in life, everything is so dark and negative, and we don't need to be around that energy, right? We can choose to focus on the good in life because the truth is there's good happening and there's bad happening. But what determines how your life is going to turn out depends on how much attention you give to either, right? So I have some history stuff and I also have some good news. Let's start with a good news message. Did you know that in Thailand, some supermarkets made a quiet but powerful shift by abandoning plastic packaging altogether? Instead of synthetic wraps, they began using biodegradable banana leaves to package fresh fruit and vegetables. It is an age old natural solution revived for modern sustainability. This small change creates a big impact. Banana leaves decompose naturally, reduce waste instantly, and return to the earth without harm. By blending tradition with responsibility, these stores proved that innovation doesn't always mean something new. Sometimes it means remembering what always worked best. So, for those of you on MeetMe, you can see in Thailand, they have the fruits and veggies wrapped up in banana leaves. Isn't that amazing? No more plastic. And then the banana leaves go right back into the ground, thereby saving our planet. For those of you that don't know about banana leaves, just Google it. It's a very large leaf for those of you that can't see it. And they just took a bunch of, say, asparagus and wrapped it around the asparagus. I think it's cool too. All right. Do you want to hear something else really cool? Who remembers the actor Gary Sinise? What movie did he come in? What pivotal movie did he come in that we remember him as? Do you guys remember the actor Gary Sinise? Well, he played that really amazing role of Captain Dan from Forrest Gump. Did you know that every year Gary Sinise leads an extraordinary tradition that turns grief into moments of joy for families who have lost a loved one in the US military? He has a program called Snowball Express Program, and more than 1,000 children and their surviving parents are flown to Disneyland at no cost, giving them several days of celebration, connection, and emotional relief. The flights, the hotels, even the meals and activities are all fully covered by Gary Sinise, allowing the families to focus on healing and simply being together. What makes this event powerful is not just the fun, but the sense of community it creates. Kids who share the same loss meet other kids who genuinely understand their experience. And the program blends remembrance with hope through memorial ceremonies and shared activities. Gary Sinise's mission is simple, but deeply meaningful. Remind these families that they are not forgotten and that even after loss, joy can return. So this is Gary Sinise on the airplane, right? With the families, the children of fallen soldiers. And every year he takes them to Disneyland, 1,000 families, and pays for them to have some fun memories. Isn't that amazing? Artman, thank you. I love Gary Sinise, and I think that's an amazing thing that he's doing. And just the fact that he's a very well-known actor and he's using his platform to bring healing to these children. Yep, Lieutenant Dan. Every year he takes over 1,000 children to Disney World, pays for everything, and their surviving family members because they lost a parent in the military. I think that's amazing. All right. I have another bit of some good news for you guys. Did you know in a city in France, a bus stops no longer need display ads? Instead, they showcase shelves filled with free books. Commuters arrive early just to browse, trade, or read quietly while waiting. The idea began as a trial in a few neighborhoods, replacing commercial posters with open access mini libraries. Soon, benches were redesigned with side compartments for novels and poetry, donated by locals or rotated by libraries weekly. Passengers say it changed the rhythm of their day. Phones down, minds calmer. Some even coordinate book drops like secret handoffs. Kids get picture books, and seniors leave handwritten notes in the margin. Morning waits are no longer idle, they are chapters long. So that is a bus stop in France, and they converted it into a book stop. See? I think that is so amazing because people don't read anymore. Oh, wow. Gary Sinise sings in a band called the Lieutenant Dan Band. I've seen them and talked to them. I think he's just an overall stand-up guy. So that's France innovation for you. And I like it because actually I used to do New Year's resolutions where I did like 20, 30, 40 New Year's resolutions, being the Capricorn that I am, right? And this year, 2025, I only did 3 New Year's resolutions. Learn astrology, learn how to garden, and monetize my YouTube channel. Okay, I'm halfway through on all 3 of those resolutions. But hey, at least I started, right? That's the most important thing, that you start. So this year, one of my resolutions is to read more. I used to read a lot. Could you imagine if we had bus stops that look like this, right? More on that after my show. I will absolutely answer that question after my show. Welcome in, everyone. This is Uma's Lotus Lounge. It's a featured stream here on the MeetMe app. All right. Now, I don't have a positive. Those were 3 positive news I gave you guys, right? Thank you. But I have another piece of news that's not actually positive, but it's a think piece because I want you to hear it and I want you to think about something. They'd scare people into getting an Uber with bus stops like that. I mean, I like to see the positive in everything. And I just feel it's so positive to know that a lot of people, I feel, are behind in life because they don't have access to things. So when you do something like that, have a bus stop with books, bookshelves, and don't care if people take the books or whatever, right? I think, yeah, maybe some people will deface it or defile it or whatever, but there's some people that will take those books and read those books, you know? At least that's what I would like to believe. All right. I have a think piece for you guys. I want you to think about this for a second. This is about lobsters. Okay. Did you know in the 1700s, lobsters were so plentiful along the Massachusetts coast that they would wash ashore in piles nearly 2 feet high? Far from being a delicacy, they were called the poor man's chicken. Lobster meat was fed to prisoners and slaves, and even ground up as fertilizer. At one point, indentured servants rebelled against being forced to eat it so often, leading the colony to pass a rule that they wouldn't be served lobster more than 3 times a week. But history has a way of flipping the script. When trains began connecting states, workers served lobsters to passengers because it was cheap and abundant. The travelers, unaware of its lowly reputation, thought that they were being treated to a rare luxury. They loved it so much that demand spread, transforming lobster from a poor man's meal into a symbol of indulgence. Isn't it remarkable how something once unwanted became one of the world's most expensive foods? A reminder that value often depends entirely on perspective. I share that with you guys because this is the nature of life. Diamonds were once plentiful. People didn't want diamonds. Now it costs an arm and a leg to get a diamond. And society dictates that if you want to propose to a girl, you have to get her a diamond ring. But do we have to follow the status quo? Do we have to have lobster or steak to signify a great night out? Do we have to buy that special someone a diamond ring? I challenge you to think for yourselves and to create your life how you want to, and to not care what anybody thinks about you, because the right people will always want to think the best of you, and the wrong people will always think the worst of you no matter what you do, right? Was the lobster thing before they started using that seasoned butter dip? Yes, because this was in the 1700s. Remember, it was plentiful in Massachusetts, and the only reason it became known as a delicacy was when the train system came into existence. And now we have passengers from other states traveling through Massachusetts. So they have never had lobster. Could you imagine, right? Back then, people living inland, away from the ocean, right? North Dakota, they'd be like, wow, this is fancy, right? So don't just assume that something is worthy because everybody tells you it's worthy. I was reminded of that during the earlier this year when our president was threatening tariffs. And I don't want to make this a political piece because it's not. It's about the factories in China. And one of the factories in China made a statement that just stuck with me, because everybody here in America was going crazy, right? When we heard about the tariffs and like, oh no, things are going to become very expensive. And the factories in China came out and said, you know, when we make these bags for these big companies, they don't use the factory all the time. They use it to make their limited edition numbers. And when that's done, our factories are still there. We're still making bags, and we're making top quality bags, right? Just not with the name, but it's the same quality, same machine, same seamstress, just a different name. And that really made me think, because I'm not a person to buy name brand stuff. In fact, a lot of the stuff you guys see, right, that me wear online and stuff, it is not real. It's just, I like things that are pretty, right? It looks gold, it's not gold. And I've always been fine with that because I came from a third world country. So I rather spend money on experiences or pay my bills or put away for a rainy day or come here, right, on the streams and bless my friends and bless my supporters when I can. So I rather spend money on people and on experiences than on actual things. How many of you actually like believe in that name brand lifestyle? Because I'll tell you, I can't find any bone in my body that would spend $30,000 for a Birkin bag. When I heard Walmart came out with a brand, what was it called? The Workin bag, right? Yes, and that's true. The quality can be better, but I guess the math I do in my head is I can buy a shirt that costs $200 that could last me like 10 years, or I could buy a shirt that's $20. And when it starts to shred, you know, if it's really bad, throw it out. If it's not really bad, donate it gently, if it's gently used, and then buy another shirt and buy another and another, right? I like name brand things, but I like exclusive designers who aren't so expensive. You know what's funny is I would not spend $200 on an outfit from Chanel or Guess, but I would absolutely spend $200 if someone I know started a clothing line and made their own pieces. I am a business person through and through. I own a metaphysical wellness center. I'm a CEO. And I just strongly believe in the power of small business, you know? That's why I gift so much on streams to people that support me, because to me, every streamer on here is a small business. And I think of it as I'm supporting small businesses. No, I'm not a registered nurse. I am a soul alignment coach, a healer, and a spiritual mentor. Yeah, I'm more in the metaphysical arts, which actually brings me to our next part of my show today. So remember, if you send a 1K gift, you will get your own message for the week. But right now, this is the message for each of the 12 zodiac signs. We're going to pull one card as just a general message for each of the signs. What can we expect this week? Well, let's find out. We're going to start with Capricorn. We're starting with the earth signs. Capricorns got King of Air. This is great. This means that you guys are being seen as leaders this week, Capricorn. That makes sense. It's your birth month, right? Also, it's time to be more logical and to get a hold of your thoughts, which is understandable, because remember what we did at the earlier part of this show. We did the astrology this week, and Chiron is active, right? It's coming out of a retrograde it's been in for 5 months. So there's a lot of unhealed drama and unhealed emotions floating around, right? So Capricorn, keep your head on. It's your birthday month, but be seen as the leader that you truly are. Okay? Taurus, you have 2 of water. This is forgiveness and compassion with a loved one. So for my Taurus people that are in relationships, you may have had conflict with someone you love, but this card says that you guys will make up and you guys will be happy in time for the New Year's. If you're single, you could be meeting someone that you can consider a love of life. Virgo, you are feeling all the passions this week. Knight of Fire tells me that you're having an adventure this week. Could be a passionate rendezvous with someone, could be an exciting new offer coming your way. But the idea is follow the energy and have fun. All right, let's go to the water signs. Pisces, you got the Emperor. You have to take control of your emotions, Pisces, right? Because what does this say, Pisces? It says that your emotions are all over the place this week. Again, talking about Chiron, the new moon, the new year energy. It's a lot. And Pisces, we love our Pisces people, right? They're so full of feeling. But this week, the Emperor is asking you, get a schedule, get a routine, and stick with it, right? Cancer, you got 2 of air. 2 of air tells me that you are stuck between a rock and a hard place. This is a fight between your mind and your heart. You know what I always say, Cancer? Go with your heart. It is the strongest vibration. Scorpio, you are asked to put up your boundaries. 7 of Fire is saying choose your battles wisely. Okay? You don't have to fight everybody this week, Scorpio. And remember, it's a new year coming in. So, all right, let's go to the fire signs. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Aries, you got some good news coming in this week. Ace of Earth talks about abundance, right? This is money. So either money is coming to you or you have like this energy of creating and manifesting more money. So pay attention to your dreams. Leo, Page of Earth tells me that you want to go back to school or you want to do something more challenging. So whatever you're being drawn to, Leo, invest in it. This card is also a good card about financial matters. So you might feel some abundance coming your way as well. And Sagittarius, 3 of Fire says you are on the right path. Make long-term plans. All right. Things are looking up. Everything's going to get easier. Just stay the course, Sagittarius. Today would be a good day to write out your plans for 2026. All right, let's go to our air signs: Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Remember, if you sent a 1K gift, I will be doing your card at the end of this show. All right, Aquarius, you got the ego card. This is you're wearing a mask. You're not really showing who you are to the world, but this is coming from feelings of insecurity and fears. So just remember, it's a false sense of entrapment. Fear, right? What does fear stand for? Feeling as if everything is real, right? Or something like that. I forgot how it goes, but it's not true. It's made up, Aquarius. So whatever you're dealing with, get with a healer. Work on this yourself. Journal, meditate, but get to the bottom of it. Gemini, Ace of Fire says you have a new opportunity coming in this week. This is also news of money, finances, or new career opportunities. So keep your eyes open, Gemini. Somebody is watching you and wanting to give you a gift. Fear, feel everything and rise. Thank you. I knew it was something similar. And finally, Libra, you have the World. This is so fitting and poetic. It is the end of an era, right? But it's an end, a job well done. It's like you're ending a cycle and you're moving into a new cycle, which is fitting because we're moving into a new year and a new cycle starting Thursday. So congratulations, Libra, for riding that wave. All right, before I end on my podcast, Meet Me, don't go anywhere. I want to say this. I truly hope each and every one of you have a fantastic start to your new year. And I want to pose this question to you. If the world was to end in 7 months, do you feel that you're living your life with purpose? Because if you're not, it can feel like the world is ending in 7 months. And what I mean by that is most times we feel we have all the time in the world to do all the things we want to do. But time is not promised to anyone. And if there's things you want to do, if there's people you want to love, if there's habits you want to create, now is the time to do them. And I say that because I am a spiritual mentor. I own the Lotus and the Light Metaphysical Center, where we do self-development and spiritual development day in and day out. And on Sunday, January 4th, we are starting our annual program that has been running since 2015. That's 10 years. It's called a Sacred Lotus program, and it's an 8-week spiritual development course. So for anyone listening to this podcast, anyone who's interested in self-development and connecting to your higher purpose, please feel free to reach out to me. I would be happy to discuss with you what this 8-week online program entails and see if it's a right fit for you. So with that being said, YouTube, Facebook, and my podcast, I love you guys so much. Happy New Year, and I will see you in the new year. Bye for now.